Viable. Got to go to somebody else. Mayfield pulls it down now on the run and going to make it to the end zone for the touchdown. One now. Chubb, running room to the 10, the 5, touchdown. Third down, Hunt breaks a tackle and he's got a first down. Hughes still on his feet. Kareem Hunt racing towards the end zone and he's in. Surround your hands quickly. Third and goal. To the end zone. It's caught by it.
I knew.
Welcome, everybody, to the Den of the Dogs podcast. I am your co-host, Clarence Wilson, and with me, as always, double R, Ruben Rodriguez. Ruben, what's shaking, my man?
What's going on, Clarence? We're by ourselves again this week, man. And before we continue, I want to thank all the fellas for last week, starting with Kevin Sleds, the boss. And let me know if I missed somebody. Joey, Josh, Joe Unger. Who else did I miss that was with us? Anybody?
We got Joey Schneider, Joe Ewell, Kevin Sleds, and Josh.
Yep. And Josh Unger. Guys, thanks for being on, man. It was a great show. Hope everybody tuned in. If you got a chance to still listen to it, pre-draft stuff, but the draft's over, so we'll try to wrap some things up for you here tonight. But again, guys, thanks for being on with us. I think it was so much fun.
Yeah, the kids got some knowledge.
They sure did, man.
A couple of them are draft nicks. They were all over it talking about guys I had to go back and check out. I was like, I've never heard about this guy, but these kids knew about the guys. So yeah, shout out to all you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. It was great.
We're just gonna jump into a draft recap for you guys and cover a few other topics. First off, I guess Ruben, let me get your opinion. What did you think of the Browns draft? I'm not a big draft grade guy because it's one of those things you're not going to know how good some of these players are. Some players you're going to find out in the first 2 months. Other players, it might take 2 years.
It could take a while, yeah. Based on where we were positioned, too, when you start the draft at 44 and it turned out for us at 68, man, they put their heads together. They did. I think they did tremendously. And again, we're not talking about upper echelon players, but then again, who's an upper echelon player after 20? But I mean, hey, when you get to the 68, when your first pick is not 44 and you trade it, and then you have to start with a third round pick and you end up with Perion Winfrey. I mean, come on, they're doing the homework, and like I said, we trust Andrew Berry, know what he's doing. He picked up some extra draft picks, some of them for the future. And I know you're not a future kind of guy because I remember you tweeting we'll be better in 2024 for sure. I don't want to say that in this season, but we got our sights set, for more than 2022. But I mean, then you get the kicker. Everybody's complaining about why did we have to get Cade York in the 4th round? That's too high for a kicker. But let me ask you this. If the Ravens come to you and say, give me number 44 and a draft pick, the 3rd rounder next year, and you can have Justin Tucker, would you do it?
You absolutely have to do it.
So, I mean, why not go after the best kicker in college, knowing that you need a kicker? Hell, didn't they cut the 2 kickers like yesterday? They cut them both in the same day. They just said, thank you for your service, bye-bye. But I mean, when you get to that point, I guess it's kind of like a feel-good story because you don't have to reach to credit. You're not. I guess you're drafting the best player available at the time that you think is the best player, as opposed to a need position, because this team isn't like that anymore, man. We're used to, drafting in the teens or higher, and we got to get somebody because we don't have anybody playing this position. It's not like that anymore. I think they did fabulous.
Yes. I think the Browns did pretty well too, all things considered. I think they shocked everybody. The trade back wasn't shocking at least it wasn't to me. There was guys sitting there I thought they could take, but knowing AB and the way he runs his drafts and the way he's been doing his thing as our GM, trading back is not a shocker.
No.
I was a little bit shocked at the pick that they made when they traded back to 68 when they selected Martin Emerson from Mississippi State.
Yeah, let me change that. I said Winfrey, but he was in the fourth. But yeah, Emerson's the guy that picked 6 year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Emerson. But then it made sense because then they ended up trading Troy Hill. What, 2 days later? So it seems like with this team, if you watch them make a move, there seems to be a move that comes down the line a day or two later that makes a move make sense,
Yeah.
long. So
Yeah, I guess it kind of explains why they did what they did. You know,
exactly. I kind of likened it to Arizona trading for Brown, and you're like, huh, it's kind of not odd, but a little bit different. But then 2 days later comes down the pipe that I can't think of the receiver right now. Got suspended for PEDs.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, yes, Hopkins got suspended for PEDs, so that made sense why they made that deal. But
And the fact that nobody knew, even Lamar Jackson gave the WTF on his Twitter, and it's like, what's going on here? But until the trade was made and the Ravens kept it in-house like they're supposed to, they never leaked anything that he had asked to get out of there.
Amazing how that can happen.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Yeah, when you keep things in-house, right? I'm free.
But yes, the third round pick, they took Martin Emerson. So that will shore up the secondary. I mean, we've got so many guys in secondary with a full year now in Woods' defense. I don't expect to see anything like we saw last year against teams like Arizona and the Chargers, where guys were able to just throw all over us.
Yeah.
So,
again, at least there's some continuity there. They don't have to rush to I don't want to say rush, but they don't have to change their philosophy on defense like they're going to have to do on offense. The players know each other. Putting Emerson in there, I don't think he's going to come right out and start, but he could be a good a slot receiver, maybe in a nickel dime package or something. But as far as their starters, I think they're already set there.
yes.
Winfrey will come in and just add to the mix. That kid's a beast. He again is one of these players that we never expected. We didn't see him on our draft board because we're looking for the bigger names. He was, I don't know if the system is right for him in Oklahoma, and he still did what he did. But he looks to me like, man, he looks to me like he just can't wait, man. He was very adamant about playing with Myles Garrett, actually meeting Myles Garrett. And man, I tell you, if his actions speak louder than his words do, man, look at the hell out.
Yeah, between him and also in the defensive line in the third round, we got Alex Wright.
Yeah.
Who, there's something about this kid I kind of like. 6'5", 270. Conference USA, so he's not playing, the top dogs, but still he seemed like he excelled.
Yeah.
Also in the third round, we got the receiver that I've been harping about, but just not the guy that I wanted. But we got David Bell. So
yeah.
From everything that I'm reading about him, it seems like he's kind of been described as like a Jarvis type, short hands, much bigger than Jarvis.
Yeah.
But short hands, can make all the catches. The one knock on him is speed. That's what one of my biggest things is. Like, I want our wide receivers to be big and fast. He's big, but not fast. But if he can come in and, possibly play that slot, just be that short-handed guy, just in case we don't get Jarvis back.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. What do you think about David Bell?
David Bell, and if you remember the podcast I had with the boys last week, he was on my list. I had him in my little highlight about him, and I was enamored with his hands. This kid doesn't drop anything, man. He's he's always at the right place at the right time. Again, that's a Jarvis Landry type of player. He's going to get open in the slot. He can get you those 7, 8, 9, 10 yards when you need him. And dude, speed. Amari Cooper's faster than we all think he is, and so is DPJ. So it's not like we don't have any speed at that position. I would kind of like to get that burner, and maybe he's out there, maybe he's already here, and we'll see what Schwartz can do for us.
That's my breakout candidate for the year, man.
Yeah, we'll see what Schwartz can do. But going back to Alex Wright, man, is one thing that enamors me about this kid is the kid's speed, because you can actually drop him back in the coverage too.
Mm-hmm.
You need to. So that's another thing. Again, it's doing their homework. They've got scouts all over the place watching these players, and they saw something they liked in this kid, and they drafted him pretty high at 78. Man, it's very surprising. If Kobe Dean went in the fourth round, this kid gets picked in the third.
Yeah. So moving on, we've already kind of discussed him. Winfrey, if his videos alone got me just gassed up. That man, he fits the mantra of the dog defense. If he comes in here, if his game is anything like his the way he speaks,
Mhm.
teams are in trouble.
Yeah, I'm just hoping Akeem Hicks joins him.
That would be nice. That would be very nice, along with Clowney and some wide receiver, whether it be Jarvis
Or even if it's not Clowney for whatever reason, and it's this kid Alex Wright, I wouldn't be mad at that either.
Yeah.
They got to find a way to stop, to plug some holes on that offensive line. I was kind of taken aback. I was kind of concerned that there was the lack of linebacking draft that they had. That's why I'd give them a B- instead of maybe an A on the draft, because they didn't even look at any linebackers. They didn't draft any linebackers. That's a position need. It's been for a while. Till I'm blue in the face. I've been telling almost every podcast since we came back, we haven't had a linebacker that can tackle or cover, and we didn't draft any.
Yeah.
Maybe they think that Walker's going to do his thing, JOK will do his, and maybe Jacob Phillips can have a breakout year. I sure hope so, because if you can strengthen the middle of that defense with the linebackers, they're going to be unbelievable.
Yes. We discussed the kicker, so and then them subsequently cutting the rest of the kickers.
Yeah, they cut the whole slew of them. They kicked them right the hell out of here, man.
Per Stefanski today.
Well, they'll have to sign somebody to compete with this kid. They just can't have him, with something. It's a Cleveland thing, man. You don't ever know if something's going to happen to the boy or not.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody in here to compete with him. You just can't.
Well, you imagine they would, but Stefanski, I listened to his press conference today, and he pretty much said that like the job is caged to lose. I didn't know if that was. I kind of thought that might be something that goes with him just trying to get him all the reps that he can get.
Yeah. Well,
like you said, I kind of believe they'll bring somebody in, but I kind of feel like if they cut the other two guys, then Cade York's he's got to have a real bad camp and a real bad preseason, I think, to lose his job right now, especially with the fourth round pick.
Yeah. How many reps do you give a kicker, anyways?
Yeah.
But the reps that you do have, you should have somebody competing with him just to push the kid.
Sure.
He's the only kicker in camp. It doesn't matter if he goes 0 for 20 in preseason. He's our kicker anyway, so you got to put a little bit of pressure on him.
If he goes for 0 for 20, double R, I don't know how long he's going to be here.
I don't know how long he'll be here either, but if he's the only one. Tell me, and I know on our last podcast, I brought up a scenario where Dearness Johnson wouldn't be here anymore.
Yeah.
If that was the case, I was looking at a kid called Jerome Ford from Cincinnati, and as I mentioned, for some reason, he just kept flashing in front of me like, what is it about this kid? Apparently, Andrew Berry either listened to the podcast, thanks, Andrew, or he had the same thing in mind, because when the fourth round came around, the fifth round, I can't believe the kid lasted till the fifth round.
Yeah.
156. There's Jerome Ford, and he took him. That leads to a pretty crazy situation. What the hell are we going to do with 5 running backs, man?
Well, obviously, like you said, somebody's not going to be here. Whether it's Dearness or whether it's Felton, or if some kind of deal comes along and they move Hunt, which I would not like to see, but somebody's not going to be here. I think that the Ford pick is kind of foreshadowing that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It's hard to say. I mean, they're not gonna. I mean, they're not gonna waste a fifth round pick on this kid, or is there maybe some kind of a trade package we don't know about that another guy's going to be included? Maybe Ford will be included in it if somebody else fancies him. I just can't see that. I can't see, when a guy like Justin Ross sitting out there in the fifth round and nobody chose. By the way, Kansas City picked him up as an undrafted free agent today. And you have a need at wide receiver that might have been some place, take a chance on there. If you're going to take a chance on a kid, Jerome Ford, don't get me wrong, it's great talent. But we need, like you said, we need speed wide receivers. So why not take a chance, at number 5 on a kid like Justin Ross? Who knows? But I mean, again, they've got a plan. I just don't see how you're going to fit 5 receivers into play unless they plan on making Felton a wide out. He's kind of smallish for a wide out. We've got a ton of small wide receivers. We've had them since you were born. But who knows what their plans are with him?
Yeah, it's a curious pick. But it kind of was one of those things with, as far as trends go, with the way running backs were taken. There wasn't a running back taken in the first round, was there?
No, I don't think there was. No.
Yeah, so I mean, that kind of shows the way that the league has changed. I know, in my days of coming up, when I got coherent enough to understand and watch football was the mid '80s. Running back was king.
I think
now
wasn't Saquon Barkley like the highest drafted running back in like the last 10 years, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, you've seen them slowly trickle down to where there's not a lot of running backs being taken in the first round.
That's the way the game's changed, man. Everything's in the air, everything's deep and over the middle.
Yeah, that's why you hear so many running backs that you've never really heard of before becoming stars, because teams are like, all right, we can find anybody that, to tote this ball.
Yeah, well, think about it. We got a guy that we drafted in the second round. Chubb. Yeah, Nick Chubb. Think about this. Nick Chubb went all the way down to the second round before we grabbed him. So the tide was turning back then, and it's just a different brand of football now. Everybody's, this is what sells tickets, man. It's like get the ball in the air and run as far as you could, not to heave it. And now, based on this draft, there's like 15 or 16 wide receivers in this entire draft.
Yeah, six in the first round, correct?
7 or 8 in the first round, something like that. I mean, it's evolving, man. This is what people want to see. This is what teams they want to spread the 4 or 5 outs, five people wide, and just go for it. And it proof is in the pudding. You saw it in this year's draft. The most wide receivers drafted in the first round in like 20 years, man. So it's this is what we saw the writing on the wall. It's here. Running backs are few and far between anymore.
Yes. And then our final couple picks. The 6th round, they got Michael Woods, the second out of Oklahoma, which is the second Oklahoma player drafted up to that point. Wide receiver. Again, Brown's going after wideouts. Hopefully one of these guys is going to become. It'd be nice if one of them became the number 2, but it'd be nice, if that's not going to happen, at least one of these guys can become our number 3 slot guy.
Again, we've got DPJ here. I think he's a number 2, and I think Amari Cooper's number 1. And Schwartz would have to be our number 3 receiver. I mean, Higgins is gone. He's in Carolina. Jarvis, nobody knows if he's coming back here or not. Maybe Bell will be a number 3 receiver. I won't put him up there yet because, of course, he hasn't played it down yet. And it's a much bigger, faster, stronger game than what he's used to seeing.
Sure.
So we'll see. I mean, Schwartz at least has that 1 year in him that he knows if they don't change the system, he knows it. But again, we have to see how Bell's going to react and to NFL play. I mean, practices and OTAs and training camp is one thing, but when you get out there and like I said, I'm a proponent of playing these cats in the preseason. You got to see what they got. My daughter she's like crazy last year about why aren't they playing these guys? They got a whole bunch of new guys on this team, and the first time they're going to see each other is on opening day. They just didn't play these people.
Yeah.
We need to do that, especially these positions that we need to fill. That we need, we need these wide receivers to step up. We need action from them. So we're going to have to see what they got in the preseason. It's imperative that they get playing time at least, man. And this kid Dawson Deaton that we drafted in the 7th round, this center. Did you see the footage on this guy and the video on this guy? If you haven't, take a look at it. This kid's a center from Texas Tech. He's built like a poop brick house, man. He was I think he was a 2-time offensive, or what's he? Not honorable mention, but second teamer in the Big 12. And this kid is like, who does he remind me of? We had that guy that way back days, number 61, Everett, when he was a center for us here. He reminds me of him. He's a nasty, nasty dude in the middle, and they got him with like a 246 pick. Hell, he was almost Mr. Irrelevant, and we ended up with this guy. That's somebody to watch out for because we have our center, and God, I can't remember his name.
Nick Harris.
Nick Harris. And this kid may give Harris a little something to think. Again, it's one of those positions where they got a guy that can push our center, Nick Harris, with that more they're not doing with their kicker. I mean, they got somebody that's actually pushing the incumbent, so to speak. But I tell you, let's look out for this Dawson Deaton kid here in spring training and training camp, and see what he's got to offer. This is a massive kid, man. This kid plays mean. He's nasty, and talk about a value pick, man. And there we go with the value thing again. But this kid at in the 7th round was an amazing pick. Nobody's talking about him. Yeah.
Yes. So overall, the Browns filled some holes. Still have some holes left to fill. Soon that'll be done via whatever's left in the free agency class. Overall, though, I mean, for not having a 1st round pick and then trading out a 2nd, I think they did all right.
I think they did. It was kind of, you're sitting there scratching your head thinking, it's the first thing I thought of. From when they got to 44, dude, did you see the players that were still left at 44? That I'm like, oh my God, I'm salivating. Nakobe Dean was there. Amongst others, there was a whole slew of them. The names all escape, but Nakobe Dean, for some reason, I said, man, we're going to get this guy. And then all of a sudden I see on the giant TV screen in orange, trade.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me? What the hell is he? And again, if it would have been the other GM, Dorsey, or somebody else, I would have uttered a 4-letter expletive. But I got to trust this guy. I mean, he pushes the right buttons. Clarence, he does. He's been doing it since he got here. So, you have to keep the faith and trust that what he's doing is going to help this team and this fan base too, man. Because, nothing's scary. When Pittsburgh picked it, we didn't draft because Pittsburgh got Pickett. In the past, we would say, "Oh, what are we going to do now?" He had his plan set. We got 10 minutes. He had his plan set, man, and he went with it. He didn't deviate from it. He's not drafting scared like we used to do in the past. There is no mad dog in a meat market.
Yes.
In this draft. So yeah, or any of his drafts.
Real quick before we do get up out of here, the Troy Hill deal.
Is he still crying?
He probably is. Somebody trade me to the Super Bowl champions, or the Super Bowl champions say that they want me back. I'm not going to be crying. As we kind of said before, the Browns are pretty deep in the secondary, so he'll be missed. But if Emerson can come in and do what he's supposed to do, and Greedy is 100% healthy,
yeah,
I think we'll be okay.
I felt disrespected. Well, guess what? I felt disrespected in the way he played too. So
Yeah,
let's call it even.
exactly. One of the other storylines, Browns were not able to move number 6.
Nah, it's not happening yet.
It seems like we're at a stalemate right now, and as much as I don't want it to go down to training camp, nothing seems to be imminent at this particular moment.
The only thing imminent is that he's still on the roster, and when he shows up, because it's not an if he's going to show up. When he shows up, they got to make a decision. What do you do? Just say, "We got you. Come pick up your check. Stay with Emily somewhere." We don't need the distraction, because that's a little be a distraction. You don't need Mayfield running around the training camp throwing balls all over the place when the guy who's replacing him is doing the same thing.
Exactly.
If you don't have a divided locker room, you're going to have one now. So yeah, something's got to be done. I'm just sick and tired of talking about it, man. Just get it over with. Do what it is you got to do, and then move on. I mean, I kind of feel sorry for the kid now. I mean, I really do, because this is a position everybody's saying he put this on his back because he should have sat out. He didn't play well. Whatever, man. People think what they think, but the front office isn't without fault here either. So
Yes.
just forget about whose fault it is, and for the sake of both sides, get this thing over with already. Do whatever it is you got to do. I heard a story today where Seattle's was not, and it doesn't care to be involved in any trades with him. And I also heard through the grapevine that we just don't want to pay a single dime to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, they have to be a little bit flexible with that too, because like I said 2 podcasts ago, and I said it last week, and I'll say it again today. There isn't one GM or one team in the NFL that's going to do us any favors.
Mm-hmm.
Doing what they did this offseason, they turned the NFL into moving forward into as far as contracts goes and signing players, they turned it into a different level. Is nobody going to give them a call and say, "Is there something I can do for you?" That's not going to happen. So,
No.
Back to the old saying, man, if you made your bed, so it's like,
Absolutely. I think we're coming up on time, folks. Ruben, you want to give any shout outs or any plugs before we jump
shout
off?
out, plug out to everybody here at Believe Land Media, man. Thanks, you guys. We'll keep plugging along. The guys out there, all the podcasts, All Things Cavalier, the Guardians podcast, the Mic Drop, the guys at the Pile Driver. We're all here, us here, Clarence and I. We just appreciate everything you guys do, all the likes, subscribe, listen to the podcasts. We got a little bit of something going for break something out next week. I got something going on here to try to get you people out there involved with us as well. Maybe get a little trial on a trial basis, get your company, your small business to come join us, be with us for a couple, 3 podcasts on the house. And we can go from there, see how you like it, see if it's something that's going to build your business, which we are confident that it will. And we can move on from there. And you're going to love it. We got bigger and brighter things coming. We got Joey Schneider out there covering the Lake County Captains for us. Stay tuned. We got some mighty fine things coming with the Cleveland high school sports scene coming up. We'll get more into detail that as we get it together. Kevin and I are gonna we'll sit down with everybody, and we'll talk about boys and girls high school sports coming in the fall, late summer and fall. But yeah, Clarence, we're back at it, man. 2 more weeks. I think on the 26th, if I'm not mistaken, they start the OTAs.
Yes, sir.
Mandatory mini camps coming in June. So You know, the off season's rough for us, man, because we don't we don't have much to talk about except the draft and stuff comes. And again, if there's anything breaking, we'll jump on. But let's get this we'll get this thing started here in a couple more weeks. We get these guys out in the field and we can evaluate and talk, and next week we'll find something. There's gonna be something out there. I got a feeling something's gonna kick in the next week that we can talk to the folks about.
Always.
Well, take us home, Clarence, in the words of the great Freddie. I don't know if he's so great. In the words of the great Freddie Kitchens.
The immortal Freddie Kitchen.
Immortal.
If you do not wear brown and orange, you don't matter. Peace, y'all. Have a good weekend.
A good week, everyone.